Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Madman's Land, the podcast, where pretty much the most toxic people only reside because it seems they're the only people who are willing to talk to me. Anyway, you know me, serial killer of the internet, no Miss Yalf, and today I have probably the biggest guest so far, Saammuel.
Yeah, hello. Like for some people watching, you may know me from my main channel, Samuel, my second channel, Loomis, or probably some of you will probably know me from like my own interviews that I do, that I conduct on the Trash Talk channel. So yeah, hi, and appreciate you letting me on the podcast.
No problem, dude. Honestly, I welcome you. To be fair, I have always had a slight interest towards you. Like, I've seen your channel floating around and stuff, and
Mhm.
it seems like maybe you're not the biggest, but you're one of these people where, despite everything you're respected by higher commentary channels and lower commentary channels. Especially
Mhm.
because you have this thing where, and I've talked to multiple other people about this as well, people tend to respect you because even though 40k can be seen as something massive to smaller channels, you still interact with the smaller channels, and it's very respectable.
Mhm.
Any reason behind that?
Well, I find that for me personally, as someone who look, I haven't always had 40k. Like I've been in people's positions where they've had 10 subscribers, 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. Like for me, the number doesn't define people. Otherwise, I wouldn't be speaking to half the people I speak to. I wouldn't be speaking to some Fabio, for example. Like I wouldn't be ever speaking to him. He doesn't upload. He doesn't really make content, right? For me, it's
Hmm.
just a number, and it doesn't necessarily define the person by the number.
That's very true. And pretty smart to think of it that way because, well, it's fucking true. It's just a number on a fucking internet scale.
Well, yeah, 100%. Like, I feel like it'd be a bit weird of me to like judge people off their numbers. Like, I never for example, a great
Judge people off
example.
their numbers, so basically you're gonna pull a Breon. Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never like look at someone and go, "Oh fuck, you get one subscriber." Oh god, no, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I think a good example of this is of course, Base Days does right.
Hmm.
When he was struggling and he was talking about how he's feeling demotivated because his views were low. Like, I'm not gonna instantly go, "Fuck," like, "Oh, your views are really low. Well, I don't want to speak to you anymore." Like,
Your views are pretty low. Guess what? El Bozo ratio. Fuck off.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like it'd just be a bit weird for me to be like
It'd be a bit of a
condescending
dick
towards
move.
people. Well, yeah, like everyone, like sometimes I get low views, like in comparison to my channel average. Some
Yeah,
videos flop, everyone's videos flop, whatever, right?
that
I feel like
happens.
it'd
It's
just be a
just a
bit
thing.
weird. Well, yeah, exactly. Like at the moment, my channels or my main channels are suppressed in like YouTube, so I'm not bothering with it at the moment, right? So it'd
Hmm.
be a bit weird for me to like go to people and go, "Oh, you've got 10 subscribers, don't talk to me." Like, yeah, scum, you know? It's just
Yeah.
weird.
Don't get me wrong, I'd be a liar if I said I don't flex my admin power in my server, but usually when I flex my power in that sense, it's more like those who break the rules and are being assholes are quick to be
Yeah.
timed out, and I'll just be like, well, look at you, dumbass, you just timed out because you didn't obey the rules. That's about it, really. But when it
Well,
comes
yeah,
to,
yeah.
like, a numbers thing, obviously, I'm sick of people saying, oh, I don't have an ego, I'm amazing. It doesn't work like that. Everyone has an ego. It doesn't matter if it's big or small, there's always an ego. In my own opinion, when it comes to my channel, I can say that it influences my ego in a sense of, like, if I get higher views, I feel like I'm fucking awesome, but I don't feel like
Mhm.
I'm better than anyone. And honestly,
Yeah.
I would say you come across as that. Like, you could have a big boost in your overall ego, but, like, it doesn't affect you on treating people. Like, I've
Oh no,
noticed
yeah,
that with you.
100%. Like I'd have to agree with that because like look, I get on my shorts right and even long form I get like what thousands of views or whatever, right? But like for me it's never like a thing where it should come into my personal life or even just like my social life in general. Like I'm not never sitting in a VC unless I'm with like close people like Fabio for example, right?
Hmm.
Like we're like talk about numbers and stuff, talk about videos and like if one's flopped or whatever, just the usual stuff, you know. But I'm never sitting in a VC and I go fuck, you know. Like I've got 40,000 subscribers. Like fuck yeah, fuck you. Like my ego is like massive like that.
Yeah.
But no, I think like where it does come out is like it influences the way I deal with situations because I know I do have like for the community that I interact with and stuff. I do have maybe a few more subscribers than the average like person, right?
Yeah.
So like it influences me in that way rather than influencing me and just being a dickhead.
Hmm.
Don't know. Yeah, no, I'd agree with your like evaluation of that, and like for you, like you said about like your server and stuff. Like, yeah, like I never see you going around like going, oh, I've got like 1,000 subscribers, my videos be banging. Like, fuck you, you know what I mean?
Well, I'll say this, like, when I make a video that I think is absolutely unbelievably well made of me, I don't go, ah, yeah, this, it's so amazing that I just busted
Yeah,
the moment it exported. I'm more like, I'll be, ah, guys, I'm really proud of this video, I hope you like it.
yeah. No, no, 100%. Like, I feel like everyone's like that. Like I'm like that. If I make a video I really like, I'm going to talk about it, right? I want to like
Yeah.
talk to people about it, see what their opinions and thoughts are on it. Like, if you make a good video, like I feel like, and you're proud of it, like there's no harm in talking about it. It's just how you come across when you're talking about your like videos, your views, and analytics and stuff.
Hmm. See,
So
something I
no,
never
yeah,
understood. So, I've like met a lot of haters. I'm sure you have as well. But like
yeah, yeah,
something I never can understand. They always go like, "Oh, well, you're shit." I'm always sitting there like, "Why am I shit? Tell me. Give me some
yeah.
criticism. Maybe I can make it better so you can enjoy it better. Why am I shit?" But they never answer. They just go, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
shit."
No,
It's rather
100%.
childish. Like, give me
Yeah,
criticism. Maybe I can make it better for you.
I've had a lot of that, right? Where like I'll be like adding a tweet, and I know you have as well, right? From like pathetic people as well. Well, or like even comments, right? Where they're like your content's bad, and then you'll ask the exact same question that they've just told you, right? And they
Yeah.
will have nothing apart from like, oh yeah, like it'd be like the worst thing ever. It'd be like, oh yeah, your screen went black for like I don't know, like a millisecond, and it'd be like
It
stuff that's just
lagged for
really
like
never.
1 millisecond, or your
Yeah,
still wasn't on point with how you feel. Mate, my still
yeah,
was on point with how I feel, or it wouldn't be there, period. Like they never really they just nitpick the smallest things and they'll be like, "Oh, well, this happened." So then you go and you check and you find out it didn't happen and you're like, "Okay, I'm confused."
well, yeah, but I also think as well, there's like and I know you've had this as well. There's also like a different breed of people where like instead of just hating in the normal way, where it will just be pathetic, like hate comments like, "Oh, your content sucks, you're an idiot," whatever. I've
Mhm.
had like I don't know if you've ever had this, but I know I've had this where like people create like false allegations, they create like these whole like narratives and stuff just to like prey on someone's downfall. Which like I've had that a lot in the past, made quite a few videos on it. I don't know if that's ever something you've had, but like I know there's a lot of people, like regardless of size, right? There's always going to be people that hate you to like a really outlandish extent where they do want to prey on your downfall.
Oh, I've had a fair bit of that. So obviously I've settled beef, so I think it's fair that I can still talk about them in the same light. But you probably know of the one and only infamous Ducky Morant.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
he was one that was so desperate for my downfall that he would find the simplest joke in my video, and because it wasn't edited, because I was genuinely sick of YouTube and thinking of leaving, because I basically just threw it to some gameplay with no audio, stuck it in, didn't edit it, you could hear my mouse clicks and everything, and was just so lack of motivation. I made a bomb joke, like how Joe called F Rominator the Unabominator, like, the odd
Hmm.
bomb joke, some edgy humor.
Yeah.
And he was so desperate to get me termed that he had a bunch of people mass report it, which I'm sure you've heard the news of already.
Hmm.
And it's like I can't get into the mind of that. Like, yes, I have a large group of people that I despise with a burning passion, and some of those are people who touch kids. For very obvious reasons I hate them. But like, I'm not going to prey on their downfall. Their downfall will come, and that's just how it
Yeah.
works. Eventually they'll slip up, they'll fuck up, and it will end in their own downfall. But I can never really get into the head of someone who's like just so obsessive with trying to get someone deleted or termed or anything like that. It's just fucking mind numbing to me. It's just so
Hmm.
completely strange. Like, you could have a billion things you could do, a billion things. So much time. Time is forever draining, and you choose to spend your life mass reporting a video because you don't like the person.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I never get with people, right? Is they will complain about someone or they will prey on someone's downfall, and I hate this idea and ideology of like, oh, like this person's done something horrible, they need to be terminated, they need to be banned, they need to like be whatever, right? Because that doesn't solve the issue. That's just like a quick way term of like, oh, this ruined their career, right? Just so they don't
Hmm.
have one. Where like anytime that like I'm involved in like a heavy situation, like Ducky Morant is a great example, right? Like I've had a couple of issues with him as well, and instead of like going on Twitter and going like this guy needs to be terminated, like false flagging him, like whatever, right? Like I just made a simple second channel video on him, right? Just like talking about him, talking about his like fuck ups, his errors and stuff, and just
Hmm.
talking about him that way, right?
Yeah, I
And I
remember
almost
seeing that, and
yeah
basically how he basically used the word of like, oh, if you're Kumo said if you're being gay, then
yeah
and then you're like, oh well, it's very obviously a joke. As a gay person, you don't think it's homophobic, and then instantly he's like,
mhm.
oh yeah, I'm aware it's a shit point. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch. Like, if you know it's a shit point, it's not something you mention because the smallest people will take that and run with it and completely misunderstand. But I
Well,
feel
yeah.
like Ducky did that purely because he knew there'd be that small margin that would do that.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like when it does come down to situations like that, it's always better to rather than like do all this whole like council culture routine of like terminated, false flag, remove your comment, do whatever, right? It's almost like just express your opinions, like pick out the flaws that you see, rather than like following the crowd of going, right, this guy needs to be terminated or whatever. Because like, look, I don't like some of Ducky's videos. Like, I've been very open with that. I don't talk to Ducky, right, whatever. But I would never want his channel to be terminated or whatever, right? I don't think he's that big of an issue, right? I
Hmm.
don't think that he's done something so criminal that he needs his channel taken down. I think he's done something that should be pointed out and should be really spoken about just in a wider sense, rather than, how Ducky, you need to be striked, you need to be terminated, whatever, right? It just doesn't solve any issues.
Yeah, no, like, I completely understand. Like, in my opinion, for what he's done, like, punishment is deserved, but not to
Mhm.
an extent where his entire, like, everything he's built, his 800 subs should just be instantly removed and him terminated.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
like, at worst case, I think he should either be told off, maybe have, like, maybe not a strike, but like a week timeout similar to a strike, but without the actual striking on his channel. Something to like
Yeah.
let him know, like, oh yeah, you broke the rules. The rules obviously is a case of if you break them, you should be punished. But at the very same day and very same time, I'm sort of in a sense where just because he needs to be punished doesn't mean he has to have everything he's worked for taken away from him.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's almost like making videos and like talking about it publicly. It's almost trying to get the person to like self-reflect. Like when I made a video on Ducky, I wasn't like, damn, like I want his like career to fail. I want this to fail. I want this to happen, right? I just wanted to talk about where he can maybe like self-reflect, where he can improve on in the
Yeah,
future, and just
constructive
where I
criticism.
want to like pick apart. Yeah, yeah. Like I'm not like in the video going, oh, this guy fucking sucks. Like I hate this guy. He reeks of shit, right? But like
Hey, I think you're talking
I
about
feel like.
Malay there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I might be, to be fair, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like it just comes down to your presentation of stuff, and that's where a lot of people in small commentary fail. And what really annoys me is like, well, what's the stuff going on at the moment with like Rootrix and Azaz, right?
Hmm.
Azaz re-uploaded like one of his videos. Rootrix immediately goes, "Oh, like you've slandered my name, you've done this," and all these allegations are flying, which just isn't a correct way to deal with something. It's again along that line of the cancel culture stuff, routine. Oh, he's done this. Let me accuse him of that. Let me try and get this video taken down.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's just a petty like run through, which doesn't need to happen.
Well, you want to know something that was actually funny to me because this has been
Mhm.
going on for a while. So, as you can probably tell, I have an accent and it sounds fairly
Yeah.
British, but I've been told by my own parent that it's known as a squatty accent, which was basically, apparently, according to him, a mix of German, British, and American. And this
Hmm.
is probably because my dad's German and black and my mom is Scottish and white, so, you know.
Hmm.
And I remember a while ago, someone didn't like me enough that they made like blatantly obvious screenshots that were fake, and it just has me saying the N word, like hard R. And it was funny because then I would just responded to it with, "My nigga is so obviously fake." And then he's like, "Oh, you're
Hmm.
racist, you're racist." And like, you do realize I'm black, right? And then he instantly goes to apologizing really much and then blocking me and then removing all his tweets on me. And it was like, it's so silly. It's so like I hate to use the word whimsical because it's so memed, but like it kind of is just really weird and whimsical. Like someone can instantly flip a fucking coin like that because they didn't know one small detail like it matters.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I feel like in a lot of situations, and I know you'll know this better than anyone because you were there. like with a lot of situations, like the Keita situation, for example, like Keita, like blagging, right? Absolutely waffle, right? They make a point
Yeah,
about something like about like Joe, like Dingo, and a bunch of other people, right? And then like some details got released, like from me, from you, and just people in general, and then
yeah,
it completely switched, right? Or like, what is it? A better example, even we were calling out Keita for the NSFW furry stuff, right?
yeah.
Roman Gina comes on with the exact same screenshot. She like drops everything and runs away, right? Admits that it was real, and it's almost like
She
just
doesn't even
because,
admit it was real. She tries to cop out and
yeah,
go, "Oh, my apologies. I thought it was fake." You know it's not
yeah,
fake. You know it's not. You did this. You know it's not fake. You're just bullshitting because you got caught.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like there's a lot of situations like that within small commentary because I do feel like there's a lot like I feel like 50% of small commentary, right? It's just like teenagers, right? 50% is adults, whatever, right?
Hmm.
I feel like regardless, both sides are heavily immature. Like they mess up and they don't look at their details. Like I know this is something you do because I've seen you do it in like calls and stuff. And I know this is something that a lot of people do within small commentary, but not enough people do. Saying that, it's they don't verify their source, they don't take proper action, right? So, like for example, when Keita came to me, before like everything came out, and they were trying to accuse Dingo of everything, right?
Hmm.
Like, I went to Dingo, I got in a call, recorded it, right? We made sure like got his statement, got everything right, like, and went through the proper steps. Where Keita immediately jumped on a video, accused this like random guy of doing this, right? Before then going into Twitter DMs, like complaining about people like doing the exact same thing to her.
Yeah,
So I feel
completely
like
two
people in
faced.
small yeah, yeah, exactly, right? People don't in commentary, they don't verify their sources, they don't make sure they're doing the right thing. They sort of just jump to conclusions and hope it sticks.
Yeah, it's literally just like spaghetti in the wall. You're cooking it, you're fucking hoping that you've got it finally cooked perfectly, throw it at the wall. If it sticks, you just jump on it instantly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
no,
exactly.
it's no like I've seen this a lot, but like a lot of people will have like something small. It doesn't even have to have genuine evidence. Like I don't know if you've heard of this thing with Pandylion recently. Some weird person that got a message from what seems like a very obvious alt account that's been made on the 3rd of June or something, and the only tweets were two tweets on the exact 3rd of June and no existence previously. And they
Hmm.
messaged Pandylion saying, "Oh, LT Beast has rumors that he groomed someone." And then Pandylion basically made a whole video saying, "Oh, well, these allegations could be a thing. I've lost all respect for LT Beast because he could be a groomer." And he said the word, the F word, the FA, the British cigarette word, you know,
Hmm.
and all this
Well,
stuff,
wait,
like just
I
completely
think I know what you're
jumping to
talking about.
conclusions.
Sorry to interrupt, right? But like, I hadn't told anyone this, right? But I got a message from someone called Emmy Patty, whatever, right? Some random
Yeah,
like
yeah,
account.
that's
Yeah,
exactly the same
yeah,
person who messaged them.
yeah. And the two tweets were like speaking out finally, and like people threatened me, and I said I would get doxxed if I talked out, right?
Yeah,
And again, like they're spelling
those are the tweets I'm
horrendous. Like,
talking about.
yeah, yeah, exactly. You can tell that this is an alt account, right? Like they tried to do the exact same thing to me, saying like Lieutenant Beast groomed me, whatever, right? And like I asked
They
for
didn't even
evidence,
say
made sure.
that. They said that some, like, the rumor was that Lieutenant Beast groomed someone, and now you're telling me that they're saying to you exclusively that Lieutenant Beast groomed them, despite
Yeah, yeah.
it's quite literally impossible because I have been pretty much in voice chat with Lieutenant Beast for ages, and he pretty much does nothing but look at the camera, occasionally eat some food, and play video games. So it seems damn near impossible if he's spending all the time chilling with the boys, and then all of a sudden he's groomed someone just out of the butt cheeks of his ass, apparently.
Well, yeah, and like I feel like again, right? Jumping to conclusions is the complete wrong thing to do in this situation, and that's not what I did, right?
Yeah.
Asked for evidence, right? Like literally asked for a shred of evidence. They couldn't provide it, so I told them to basically fuck off. And
Hmm.
then they did like like how Root Tricks or like others like when they get caught out, right? They sort of just like start typing in caps and need to like fuck you, whatever, right? Did the
Hmm.
exact same thing and blocked me.
What
So
a
I feel
surprise.
like yeah, exactly, right? And this alt account will never probably ever return, right? I feel like it was a failed attempt from someone, probably in small commentary, or even someone that hates like Beast, right? I
Yeah.
don't reckon this account will ever come back, right? And it's so meaningless, right? It's a pathetic situation, right? Should never ever really be even spoken about publicly, right? But just because
Hmm.
people jump to conclusions immediately, it gets blown out of like proportion, you know? Like
Yeah,
people will like
it's
bring it
like
up and stuff.
a an old-fashioned trip mine that just hasn't gone off. People are literally just jumping on it at this point, seeing who jumps the hardest and pops the fucking grenade.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I feel like situations like this, right? It's like when I saw that, like I thought it was so insignificant that I didn't really even have to mention it to Beast because there was no evidence, right? It never come back up really.
Well,
But the
you want
fact
to
that
know
people do
something?
react.
You want to know something that's
Hmm.
like really silly? So they sound. I don't know if you've seen their video. They sound a lot like Carmen Ryder, and they joined the voice chat. I asked them to. LT Beast was in there and everything. And LT Beast, who was high as a kite at the time, legally I might add, and he was basically saying, "Oh, it's the funniest thing. You sound just like Carmen Ryder." The moment he said that, Panny Lion left the server, blocked everyone in the server, and instantly dipped. I have a
Hmm.
recording of it. It
Well,
is
like
very off, if you know what I mean.
Like, yeah, yeah, 100%. And I'm just looking at the video that they uploaded in question, right?
Hmm.
I don't know even know why this needed to be made in the first place, right? It's such an insignificant thing where it's like, again, I'm going to use Rutrix as another example, right? There's someone
Hmm.
who constantly wants attention, right? Same vein of Melee, right?
Hmm.
And I know Melee, like, you can meme him way more, you can get way more out of him as like content, right? But like
Yeah.
Rutrix is a perfect example, right? Of someone who just wants attention. Like this recent Azaz stuff didn't need to be blown out of proportion. Nothing needed to happen. She didn't need to make videos, whatever, but it's got to that state, right? This is again a situation where it's like, well, there's been a couple of messages sent. Like, there's no evidence, there's no nothing. It should really not even be a tweet. It's just like, if you're really that concerned, message Beast.
Well,
And as someone who got messaged by this person, I wasn't, you know?
I've noticed this one thing with Rutrix, and I'm going to just like mention this. I feel like he probably might like flip out at me or whatever, but like I might as well. So he joined my server purposefully trying to get attention because I said about how Kumo was in the wrong for telling a girl to cut and that he should get hit by a bus. Because at the time I didn't know Kumo, and when you look up Kumo's situation, Asta was a ghost at the time. So if you can't
Mhm.
find her, but Kumo has 1,000 daggers aimed at him, it's a little bit strange, especially for someone like me who's known for being able to find anyone on the internet. So
Mhm.
it's kind of off. So I went, like, after I made this video, because I was pissed, I went into even more, like, searching, and I still couldn't find Asta. And this is in a way, not exactly, because I can't express the emotion of fear because I'm diagnosed as psychopathic, but in a
Mhm.
way, the best word I could say is it's terrifying to know that there is someone to exist that is a complete ghost to someone like me who can find anyone off of the smallest details. So
Mhm.
I went to Kumo, interacted with him, and I pretty much just, like talked to him. We did the interview, everything came out. I made a follow up video basically saying that Kumo was in the wrong still, but I don't wish him to die or anything like that. And I noticed that after everything he's shown, she is a billion times worse than he ever could come close to. But
Yeah.
basically, Rutrix, because I said obviously you shouldn't tell people to cut and kill themselves. And then Rutrix saw like that and then instantly brought from an old video I said you should get hit by a bus for obvious satire memes. And he took that seriously and like, oh, you're a fucking hypocrite. I'm gonna make a video on you because you're a
Mhm.
hypocrite. You said not to tell people not to self-harm and kill themselves, but then you told someone else to get hit by a bus. You're a hypocrite. And that
Mhm.
basically sparked his hatred for me, and I just didn't give him attention. He joined my server. I kept giving him weak timeouts, and he instantly started to just lose complete, like, control over everything. And then now he's
Yeah.
chill with me because when you drain him of all the attention and just remove him entirely, that sort of thing, time him out so he can see everything but not interact with anything, I guess you could say it drained him, and now he's completely chill with me purely because of the fact that I didn't ban him, I timed him out, and I've drained him of any attention he could get.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like again that's a great example of why people shouldn't just like jump to things, right? Like
Yeah.
you follow the appropriate steps, right? You
Hmm.
basically like left him out to die, right? Left him out to dry, left him out to die. Like you did the appropriate thing there, right? For people, especially within small commentary, that are attention seekers, right?
Hmm.
Like I feel like there's a lot of them. Like I can name multiple on my hand, which is excluding the ones we've just spoken about, right? Like
Hmm.
I feel like people's like response is really messed up because it's almost like someone will come out, will say something, do something in a server, right? Will like bully someone or whatever, right? And everyone's first response, instead of just sort of like ignoring it because it's like so pathetic, everyone's first
Hmm.
response is, right, let me hop on Twitter, let me make a couple of tweets and let me make a video. And like this person might have like one subscriber, right? Like no relevance behind them, whatever. Like I'm not saying you do need relevance, whatever. But like
Well,
if
yeah.
you're someone like that, it's sort of just like at the end of the day, it's clear that they want attention and that's the only reason they're doing it. Not that they have legitimate concerns or they have issues with the person. They're just doing it so they can get that like reaction out of people.
Yeah. I can
So no,
understand that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question for you then. So, what made you want to start YouTube? Like, overall, what was your main goal?
Well, I started in 2016. I've been doing it for a while, right?
Hmm.
Coming up nearly a decade, right? Like getting really close now.
Yeah.
And I I feel like, of course, like everyone says, like when like I know when I ask this question, and probably when you ask this question to people, right? A lot of people within commentaries like, I started watching Leafy, started watching iDubbbz, right?
Hmm.
Whatever. Although I did watch commentators, it was never like my motivation to start YouTube. I'd always like dabbled in a bit of commentary, but like my actual push for just creating content is I just like I had this outsource of energy and stuff I wanted to burn off, right? Like I'm not an artist. I can't draw like shit, right? I can't do this, can't do whatever,
Yeah,
right?
don't worry. Literally, think of it this way. I insulted Mushroom Girl's drawing because I said it was bad, and then I also mentioned how I can't draw, and she took
Yeah.
it like, I don't know if you saw the video. She took it
Hmm.
genuinely personally that I said that her art was bad. She got mad. You could hear it in the tone of her voice. But I completely understand. I can't draw for shit either. My drawings are like small sketches. I could draw terrifying monsters and it would be really detailed to extreme examples. Then I could draw a normal human being and it looks like a fucking stickman shat himself.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like I can't draw like for shit, right? I can draw like random things, right? If something's in my head, I can draw it easily, right? Like
Yeah.
whatever. But I've got no real like my artist intention there. So like I'm not like Joe or like people you see on Twitter, right? I'm not
Yeah.
like that at all. And I always wanted to create stuff and do bits. And again, I love like YouTube and love movies, love TV shows, right? So I just started YouTube and started from there because I didn't originally start with commentary.
Hmm.
Like I've always done commentary in the background, but it didn't really become proper until around 27, like late 2017, 2018. So like right around that Logan Paul stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, like
Dude,
where I
I
like properly
hate that
started getting
guy
into commentary.
so
Oh, you
bad.
but no, he was like one of the first videos like I made like proper commentary videos, right?
Yeah.
Because like for those like maybe year and a half, 2 years, I was making commentary on and off, right? It'd be like a occasional situation, whatever. It was really shit commentary, right? What I used to do because I didn't really edit at the time, whatever. Because just not out of like sheer like will or whatever, I just couldn't be asked. So I'd like screen record and like I'd pause the video, speak about it, unpause it, whatever. Like really basic stuff, like really bad reaction commentary,
Yeah.
like really bad, like just really bad. No face cam, whatever. It would be laggy, whatever. And that was really just why I wanted to start. I wanted to entertain. I wanted to like have this like artistic outlet, which I just didn't get from anything else.
Honestly, I can completely understand that. Like, I'm going to be honest. With, like me, I started because someone said I could probably make a pretty funny, like, old style pyrocynical video. And I thought, you know what? It might make you happy. You've been a good friend of mine for a while. I'm gonna make it just because it might make you happy. And that would be good. Like,
Yeah.
my way of saying, you're my best friend. I'm gonna make this. Maybe it might make you
Hmm.
happy. And I made it, and it sort of felt like therapeutic, and I enjoyed making the video. And I was like, you know what? This is actually quite fun. And then I just like continued to do it out of just enjoying myself. And then I got
Yeah.
support, and it was like really motivating to keep going. And now, even though I've only got 1K, I've got a pretty close fan base, and they're fucking awesome. Like, I love all of them. Like, I get really cool fan art. I get really cool just stuff in general. People show me support, say they like my content, and I'm just like, it's not like my main goal. Like, it's not like the only reason I'm doing it, but it really helps with motivating me to keep going. And I'm sure when your
Yeah.
fans do the exact same thing, it's the exact same with you.
Well, yeah, 100%. And I feel like for you, right? Without sort of getting into like my podcasty ways, right?
Hmm.
Like, like with commentary stuff, right? I know you've like been going for like you've uploaded content, right? Uploaded like the weird odd bits, like
Yeah,
your
no,
like
like if you
historical
go on my older
podcast, right?
videos, they're so weird.
Yeah, like they're just random stuff, right? But I know you've been like properly posting commentary stuff and doing bits, like starting with that sexy Vaseline man video for like
Fucking
a good
yeah, you
6 months.
fucking knew it. The OG, the fucking retard meme.
Yeah,
The
like
sexy
I know you know,
Vaseline man
yeah,
prostitute of a man
yeah, exactly.
eating Vaseline.
Well, like, yeah, you've been going for like a good like straight on 6 months, right? Just like posting content, doing stuff like properly, right?
Yeah.
With me, I've been doing that for like a good 6, 7 years now, and it's weird, right? Like I've still got people sticking around from that time, right? Like 7 years ago, right? I still get this one commenter, right, who will comment on all my posts, right? Comment on trash talk, comment on Loomis videos, right? And he's been there for 7 years, right? But there have been times where I've had no support whatsoever, right? And it comes down to this question of like people will ask me like about burnout, right? Do you ever get burnt out? Do you ever feel like this? I could honestly say, regardless of the support, like the times I've been cancelled, all the false allegations against me, whatever, I've never, like, ever been burnt out or stopped with motivation. And I don't know what it is. I think I just enjoy it too much, just like talking a bunch of shit online.
I
But
can completely
I feel like,
understand that.
yeah, yeah, just like I like and enjoy regardless, just coming on. And this is why I'm really enjoying my second channel at the moment. I'm just coming on and talking a bunch of shit about a situation that is just overall pathetic, but it's just funny to talk about.
Yeah.
And
So like your
yeah,
main channel could be more like the deadly serious. Like you're chill, you're doing yourself, but like it's more serious. Whereas the Loomis channel is more like a just a chill one, you know, like not as
yeah.
serious.
Well, yeah, like you're never gonna catch me talking about like pedo allegations on my like second channel, right?
Yeah.
Well, like
No, like I
my main
completely
channel,
understand that. That's
yeah,
a good call in my opinion.
like well, my main channel is very much like serious stuff, right? I talk about like allegations, or speak about all these serious stuff, like in depth, or even just like a simplistic video where I just speak about like these like allegations and talk about it, whatever it may be, right? But my second channel is very, I don't know, jokey. It's very like no, not like low effort, right? Because I still edit, I still like put screenshots, still edit into videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But it is very relaxed. Like anyone can watch it. Whereas like you've got to be in a good frame of mind to watch like someone who's like jacking off the children. You know, like you can't just sit down and watch that
Yeah,
like
no,
having a nice
like
cup of
if
tea.
no, like I'm gonna be honest. If I was like the grooming victim, like I was the person being groomed, and I found out that you just like swapped it to your second channel, I feel like I'd probably be personally insulted.
Yeah, yeah. Like I feel like some situations like that have to be delicately handled, right? And
Yeah.
that's why I don't know if
No,
you've seen this.
I think that's
Yeah, but, right?
very honorable in my opinion, and I think that's a very smart way to go about it.
Well, thank you. Like I feel like this is why as well. Well, if I do ever speak about small commentary stuff or serious situations like on my main channel, right?
Yeah.
It becomes a big deal, right? So like I spoke about the Malay stuff, right, on my
Hmm.
main channel. After everything, right? Well, when it got really serious, I spoke about it on my main channel, and people were surprised, right? Because I used to speak about small commentary stuff a hell of a lot on my main channel, right? Like you go back a lot, even last year, right? I was speaking about stuff, small commentary on my main,
Hmm.
but since like maybe a year ago now, I built up like a reputation of I don't really talk about small commentary stuff like really at all on my main, like unless it's serious. So like when I did
Yeah.
drop that Malay video, I had quite a big reaction from people because it's not like me to do that. Like I don't really do stuff on my main channel, like
What would you
really
say? Would you
tackling
say
just
the
commentary.
reaction was good or bad though, or would you say
Really
it's
good.
overall mixed?
It was really good. Like there was like, no one was like, oh, like why are you doing this, whatever, right?
Yeah, people
Like
were they weren't expecting it, but they weren't like they weren't like hating it. They were pretty all right with it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I feel like as well, it just comes down to the way, like coming back to what we said earlier, is way people formulate stuff, right? Like I didn't say in the title like the weirdest small commentator or whatever, right? I think I named it like the YouTube criminal you've never heard of before,
Yeah,
right?
you did something like that
Yeah,
along those lines.
yeah, and like with a really like ominous thumbnail, right, where it didn't matter if it was small commentary related or not. Like anybody could click that and enjoy the video because it wasn't like, oh yeah, you need to know a bunch about this community to like
Yeah,
know about it. It's just me talking about this guy, like going through what he's done and actions and stuff. So it did
yeah,
intrigue
internet
a lot of
theft.
people. Yeah, exactly, right? Like I couldn't just like I don't know, like talk about root tricks on my main channel, right?
Hmm.
And then like
Well,
put
Rue
something in the
Tricks is
title.
something where if you were to do it on your main channel, he would see that as something to be a massive ego boost. Whereas if you put it on your second channel, it probably wouldn't boost him as much.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like I see my second channel, right, as the way I can respond. Like when you made that jokey video on me, right?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to make a jokey response, right? But is my first reaction isn't let me upload it to my main channel. It's let me just like post it to my second channel, see what it does, right? Send me the kid a situation, right?
Hmm.
Like that, like it's a situation got real serious, real quick. but again, I didn't feel like it deserved to be on the main channel
Yeah,
purely
no,
because
like,
everyone was already speaking about it. It was being covered to death. Like it wasn't like the Malay situation where people had sort of backed down, right? It was like getting really serious, right? People weren't really speaking about all of it, like everything from the beginning to the end properly.
yeah.
I felt like I had to make a video on it because I was just in that great position where I could. Um, but no, like second channel was like very jokey and stuff, and my main channel is just like the very serious allegation stuff, and like I'll upload like maybe two times a week, one times a week. Like it really depends. Like, to be honest.
I can understand that. Overall, I think it was probably a good idea to keep Keto on the second channel purely because overall, with this thing, it has been done to death, and I think that it's like when it comes to YouTube, if you do something to death, if you are early to it, then you're not doing it to death. You're one of the pioneers of that situation.
Yeah.
Whereas if you are one of the people jumping on late, it kind of seems like, you know, they'll probably like there'll be that one person, maybe the one or two people that will hold it against you, be like, oh yeah, well, what about this time when you milked that topic knowing that you got there late? You know, there'll be that community of people.
Yeah, 100%, and that's why with like my second channel, I limit it. Oh fuck, I limit it to small commentary stuff mainly, right?
You eliminate the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Jews.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. But like I limit it to small commentary stuff, right? And that's just a preference because it's like it's just a fun like creative outlet on there, right? So like
Yeah,
when I
no, like
did
I
put
understand
my
that.
response, like I don't expect anything big from like actual long form videos on my second channel. But like sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised, right? Like I dropped my like weird response video to you, right? Just like
Mhm.
randomly, right? I don't
Yeah,
know if
like
it had a
it's a
good
meme
title,
response,
thumbnail.
not like it's
Yeah,
fucking
exactly,
around.
right? Like yeah, I
I
didn't
thought it
expect
was
anything
funny
for
as
it.
shit, honestly.
Well, yeah, like the thing is, right, is like you won't catch me dead dropping that on my main channel, right? Because it just doesn't fit with the theme, right? Could you imagine like watching a video like I don't know, like Jimmy Savile, the world's like worst like pedophile, and then immediately watching a video where I'm like talking about like you in a jokey sense, right? It just
Hmm.
doesn't really fit and flow. But it worked for my second channel and it did pretty well, right? It's on like 700 odd views. So like
Yeah.
it's almost like I feel like with my second channel, it's something that everyone, or not everyone, right? But like it's something that appeals to people in small commentary, mainly, specifically, you know? Like I've got a direct audience on there. So yeah, I just feel like I can do whatever I want, really. Second
Yeah.
channel. And
Like
I
I
know
can
you have
understand
like
that.
a second channel.
Like my
Yeah.
second channel is more like so my main channel is more like any video I feel like making, doing something like that. My second channel I use for like smaller videos, things I feel like don't belong on the main channel, as well
Yeah.
as when it comes to making memes. So I don't know if you saw the meme I made where it's basically that one guy from the Rucka Rucka video, and it's basically, you know, the Suicide Squad, but they kill themselves. And
Yeah, yeah.
basically I edit my head over his head and have it so that it traces over the thing. And
Mhm.
I thought it was funny. And I felt like, hey, I could probably use this as an asset to my YouTube, just as a joke thing to add in when someone's roasting me, like, oh, no Miss Yalf after being roasted. And I uploaded it just to make sure, you know, YouTube wouldn't, like, strike me over it. So it was more of testing the water. But it's a perfect example of when I'm doing a meme and I want to just upload the meme for those who want to use it. So if someone wants to make a video where they're roasting the shit out of me, as long as they give credit, they can use that meme of me killing myself.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like, I feel like your second channel is very much like whatever I want to upload, right? Put it on there,
Yeah,
right? Because it doesn't matter. It's second channel, right? Like, I feel like it's almost very weird when, like, sometimes I'll see people make tweets, right?
yeah.
And it doesn't happen all the time, right? But they criticize my second channel, right? It's almost like, do the people really expect to like have the same quality control as my main channel? Because sometimes I just want to make like a 2 minute, really unedited sit down video, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
no, I
can't put
can
that against
understand that.
like it's second channel stuff, right? Like I don't think you go to anyone's second channel to go, fuck, I really hope this is better than the main channel content. Because it'd just be weird
No, no, like
expectation, right?
that
Um
would be a weird expectation.
yeah. Like I don't go to your well, second channel, I mean, and go, fuck, I really hope it's better than some of the main channel videos. Because it'd just be weird. 'Cause it just
Yeah,
doesn't make
no,
any
like
sense.
that's why when you go to my second channel, it has the OG banner that I originally created and it put fucking
Mhm.
two over it. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's not really like something massive because if you go to my first thing, it's got the whole serial killer of YouTube thing after the whole situation where a channel got terminated after I made a video on it. So I just kept the theme. Why not? After the
Well
fucking
yeah.
nickname. But like the
Like,
second channel's got like the more relaxed of everything because
yeah,
obviously it's a second channel. I'm not going to put all my time
yeah.
and effort into it.
Exactly right. Like I hope people don't expect like these really high effort videos, right? Because like anyone that uploads these really like high effort videos and then doesn't on their main channel, it's just weird, right? Surely you'd put more effort into your main channel.
Yeah.
So like a second channel, right? Anybody that critiques a second channel like that, unless something is said, like I completely get it if like someone said like something like horrific, right? Yeah, whatever. But like critiquing the actual content itself, like editing wise and stuff, it's just like is what it is, right? Like no one goes to a second channel to go, oh, I really hope this is like some high edit, like Turkey Tom level editing, right? Like no one
Mhm.
does that. Like I hope no one does that anyway.
If someone does that, I feel like you're probably strangling your main channel.
Yeah, yeah. Like I never like make a second channel video and go, I really hope this is better. Like some of the editing might be a little bit better depending on what video I'm making, right? But that just comes down to the actual subject and how much I actually care about it. But like my if you look at my second channel and compare it to my main channel, the editing is never gonna be like fucking even comparable, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
putting way more effort into my main channel than I am my second channel, right? And I'm talking about like Nicholas Diorio blocking me. I'm not like, oh god, let me put a bunch of like effects on the screen and shit. I'll just make some jokes.
Yeah. Well, I've got a question for you, completely unrelated. So, your name is Samuel. So, why two A's and two M's in your name?
Well, it's actually got a bit of an interesting story, right? This goes back to like 2018, 2019, 2020, around then, right? I was like going by like a really like I hate this name, right? But I was going by like Cat123, right? It was just purely like a random name, automated, right?
Yeah.
I just put it in one day, whatever, right? I never thought of really changing it, right? Because again, like I was younger, I didn't really care, right? But it was like 2020, and I hit 1,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah.
And having a name Cat123 for like 1,000 subscribers is really bad. Like fucking, if someone was that in small commentary today, I'd mock them and tweet at them. Like I just, it's bad, right?
Yeah. It's
And like,
something that would probably it would be silly.
yeah, yeah. Like, could you imagine like having a 40K channel and it still being called Cat123? Like, it's
Dude,
laugh worthy,
I
right?
feel like that would be someone I'd probably make a video on just to mock.
Yeah,
Genuinely.
yeah. It's like a really bad name, right? And I wanted to change it. And I used to like love a British commentator called Jackmate, right? He doesn't
Hmm.
really do commentary anymore. He does like podcast again, right? Called the Happy Hour podcast. It's a pretty
Hmm.
known one podcast, right? And I used to love his videos, right? And at the time as well, as much as I dog on him now, right? Like I think every other tweet of mine is almost about him, right? I'm Alex, right? I used to really like his old content, love his old style of
Hmm.
videos, right? Before all the like the Zap tie and all of the other like controversies that followed his name, right? And I just was inspired because both of them have like double like letters in their names. So like Jackmate has two A's as well, like in his name.
Hmm.
So I sort of just like nabbed it and extended it on my name because it works, right? And it's the
Yeah.
same with Loomis, right? It's just my like YouTube name backwards. So
Yeah,
it
no,
just
like
works.
you want to know like an all-time secret, you'll have to ask me when you interview me at some point, but like my name, oh, it has a secret to it. So, another one. Another question for the almighty. So, what was the first person you interviewed for Trash Talk?
Oh, well, instantly, Max B. T-shirt. I started on the deep end. I say I started at the deep end, right? The first episode that publicly released was Max, right?
Hmm.
And this episode was, I love the episode still, right? And I wouldn't do anything different, right? But Max at the time was, I guess still, but like mainly at the time, highly controversial, right? I believe he had just come off the back of like some cutting allegations, right?
Hmm.
So like
Similar to
really
the Kumo
weird.
situation then.
Yeah, yeah, a lot like that, right? But like he intended for it to happen, right? Instead of like the Kumo situation, like this guy went out and like posted it on Twitter, right?
Hmm.
And like his videos and stuff, he was known for just like putting like whoever is a pedophile, right? And I got him on, and I'd critiqued him and his friend Chong commentary in the past. It was a decent episode, whatever, right? Like, but I guess like for a first uploaded episode, it was a really controversial one. And I wouldn't do anything differently, right? Like I'm glad like where I am
Yeah.
now and everything. But it was one of the weirdest episodes I've probably filmed to date because it had this eerie vibe. Like I remember asking him about doxing and about like his tiles, and his answers were just like really automated and stuff. But probably
Yeah,
the
like
first episode
almost
that
inhuman in
yeah,
a way.
yeah, yeah, like just like no emotion, right? Like no, he didn't care, right? He didn't care that he
Hmm.
was like calling people pedophile. It was like it gets views, so it don't matter. He's got that like weird mentality, right? Like he's an alright guy to speak to, but like he's just done some like really weird things. and like for like a first public episode, it just felt really weird. But the first episode I ever recorded was with a guy called Not Serp, who used to be in my old YouTube community. Like this little like small commentary YouTube community, like away from the small commentary stuff, right? But this little community I had, I've made a massive like hour-long video on it called Liza's Community, right? It's probably like one of my best videos,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like an in-depth doc, whatever, right? But I spoke to him and stuff, and the episode never come out. I've still got the audio. I still plan to release it at some point, but I've just never like it's never had the right time. Like with my trash talk episodes, I tend to upload it, like upload episodes, when it's best. So Max just got straight off of drama, like he's a hot topic name. Post the episode, right? I don't so much do that anymore. But if they're like Malay, right? I wouldn't have done the episode with him unless he was in that hot stuff, right? And there was that to talk about. It just wouldn't have happened. So I've never found the right time to post the episode because I've always been either too busy or there's been too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like the first episode recorded, and of course the first episode released was the Max episode.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
fair.
yeah, yeah. The Trash Talk's just been a journey and a half. Like it's been weird, right? Because I started it with the intent, or I actually started with a guy called Cynical, who now and again uploads.
Yeah.
But we started it together. He's friends with like Fabio and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And well, we started it together. Or it was his original idea, right? And we started it together. He never like really was in an episode or whatever, but we started together. He sort of left and stuff, and it's sort of just gone on from there, right? I got Max BT show on, then Fiji, then a bunch of other people, and
Yeah.
now we've got to the point where I can get big content creators on that have like outside small commentary. Like I'm getting on Under the Mayo on next, who's like a great big guest. Same with
Yeah.
G Man Lives, like whatever, right? Like, I've
Yeah.
got to
So
a stage.
big people that could
Yeah,
probably give something new, some new insights in a way.
yeah, 100%. Like same with like the Internet Anarchist one and Turkey Tom, right? These are episodes that like if you told me like right at the beginning that I was doing, I wouldn't have believed you because it's just so outlandish. Like Turkey Tom, right? I don't think I've said this publicly. I have, but I don't think so. Like he came to me to do the episode instead of me coming to him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like it's stuff like that, right? Well, when I started, like I wanted it to do well, but I never thought it would go like that.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I can completely understand that. So here's another question: what was the most awkward interview you've ever had on Trash Talk?
Oh, there's been so many. I've probably got to look at the list real quick because there's been quite a few that's been like incredibly awkward, right? I did one with what's their name? Oh, I forgot their name. Got to have a look because there's been some really incredibly awkward ones, right? I did
Mm-hmm.
a recent one with a YouTuber called Dankcube, right? He's a
Yeah,
lovely guy. And
I've
he
heard
knows
of him.
KSI and it's a good episode. Yeah, he's got like 700K, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a really nice guy. But he's socially awkward, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the episode was just really like weird and like not weird, but it was just really awkward to speak to him because he was like talking about stuff and it go from like having a joke to like crippling depression, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's a good conversation to have, right? But like it's a really hard bounce because like who did it as what Shining, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've had him on 3 episodes in a row now. But the last episode is probably like my favorite episode, but the worst at the same time.
How so?
Like he opened the intro up with shaking all of his medication around like a maraca,
Mm-hmm.
which set really bad tones for the episode, right? Like, I never like look. I love speaking about people's mental health in episodes, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
really interesting. Look, so like a lot of times when I'm speaking to bigger creators a lot, I ask about the effect that a big video might have had on them, or like a video that didn't do so well, right? Always
Yeah.
interested in that. But when you open up an episode with shaking your medication around, it's just a really bad tone, and all of it was such a depressing episode and I don't know how people watched it because like the audience retention on it is insane, right? But I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how people watched it all the way through. It was genuinely 40 minutes of the most depressing trash talk episodes I think like anyone's ever watched. Like it was just a very eerie video. Like it just it flowed, but it just wasn't. But probably the most awkward episode I want to say is probably the unreleased Lispy episode. Um,
I've heard about him quite a lot actually, and all
yeah,
of it are usually involved with his occasional racist humor.
Yeah, it was like he made a couple of racist jokes in the episode, right? Which is just like, look, if you want to say the N word, I don't care, right? Like, it's not me who's saying it. Like, you can say whatever you want in an episode, right? There's no
Yeah.
restrictions, right? But like, when you're making a joke, right? It's almost like I can't laugh at it, I can't respond to it. I've just got to sit there in this
Yeah, you've got
awkward
to
silence.
be neutral, and it can
Yeah,
really be quite awkward to deal with, like, as a person, because you could find it hilarious, but the moment you laugh, that's when you're technically no longer neutral, and
yeah.
it can really fuck everything. It
Well,
is
the other
really hard to deal with.
Well, the thing about it as well, right? It was a pretty short episode, right? Like usually my episodes are anywhere between 20 to like 50 minutes, but maybe even
Yeah.
more than that sometimes, right? Like I tend to like want to do these short, snappy interviews, right? If you want
Hmm.
information, perfect ways to go, right? Like sometimes depending on who I'm speaking to, the episodes are longer, right?
Hmm.
But I spoke to this guy and he like at the time I didn't know it was fake because he hadn't told anyone it's fake and Shining hadn't either. But he was having this like fake drama with Shining, and
Hmm.
I had him on 2 episodes previously, so he was like absolutely shitting on his name for maybe like 10 minutes. And again, you're in that position, right, where like some people do it, right? Vifi came on, shout on Drummy, right? I could give my opinion on that, right? But like Shining, never been involved in controversy with him at the time, like pretty nice guy, whatever, right? And he's just sitting there for 10 minutes shitting on his name, and it's probably one of the most awkward things ever. Like it's one of those episodes where like the person speaks way more than like the like I do, which is it's fine, right? But like you want a good conversation flowing, but he just never shut up like ever. So there's probably me speaking for like 2 minutes, and the rest is just him, and it
Yeah.
just never makes for a good episode. Like it's bad.
It can be a bit weird, yeah, because if you're not actually saying anything, you don't have a chance to get your personality across at all, which can
Well,
really
yeah,
make everything seem quite one-sided. And then for the people who are coming to see you interview someone, it starts to look more like you're not interviewing anyone, you're just listening to them.
yeah, it turned into more like a monologue of him rather than me actually asking him questions because I think maybe I asked him like 4 or 5 questions, which for me, right, like I have like long conversations with people, whatever, right? But I like to get through the questions, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to get bogged down on a subject for like 20 minutes because like well, no one wants to listen to like someone ramble on about like, one drama that is really uninteresting for 20 minutes, right? You want to
Hmm.
get through it, whatever. That's my stance, but it was just an episode where he just didn't shut the fuck up, which is fine, but it's just really annoying because like I want to ask my questions, I want to have my say on things, and it'd be like he'd say something, right, and then he'd immediately move on, so I had no time to interject with anything.
Yeah.
It's just annoying.
No, I can completely understand that. So, real question then. Who are
Hmm.
you aiming to interview the next interview? Who is the next to be uploaded on the next Trash Talk episode?
Well, at the moment, right? So what I like to do with Trash Talk is instead of like interviewing people just like week on, week off, right? I
Yeah.
love to just have like a bulk upload week where I will record with maybe 20, or not 20 people, but like you know what I mean, like 10 to 20 people,
Yeah,
right?
you record
Where
multiple people.
yeah, in just one week I will get it through, and the next week is that week, right? So I can actually give you and just like give you an insight into the schedule. Like today, or possibly today, I've got you. I'm speaking to you.
Hmm.
Then I'm speaking to this YouTuber Shorts guy, like who's friends with Veshremi T.
Hmm.
And then again on the same day, like literally the next hour, I'm speaking to the YouTuber Under the Mayo and G-Man Lives, which is going to be a big episode for me. Like it's venturing out into stuff that is sort of commentary, but it isn't. Like they make
Yeah.
commentary videos on games, so it should be an interesting episode.
Something to move
Um,
forward and like really spread your like let's say your range. Spread your range and just like content in
yeah,
general.
well, yeah, like that's what I want to do with Trash Talk, right? I want to keep it a mainly commentary-based podcast, right? That's the
Hmm.
audience, whatever, right? But sometimes I do want to speak to people that aren't necessarily commentary because otherwise I limit myself, right? There's only
Hmm.
so many commentators that I can get in touch with and speak to that are interesting, so I'd never want to limit myself. So yeah, I want to speak to him, and like that's what we're doing at the moment. Then a YouTuber called Channel Pup, who uploads mainly like Spider-Man related videos. He's pretty successful, whatever, right? And
I
again, it
think I've
just
heard
ties
of him.
in well. Yeah, he's pretty well known just for his Spider-Man videos and like his Marvel stuff. And again, it's just a great time with recent stuff that's going on with the brand new Spider-Man movie that's just come out.
Yeah, like trending
Um,
topics and such.
yeah. yeah, like sometimes I get creators on that are trending, like, or not trending, but like they speak about trending stuff. Like I'm
Yeah.
getting on a British YouTuber
It
who
can
this guy,
be more interesting. Like for
yeah,
people who are coming for an interesting topic, it's not like that's your one and only goal just to get big, but it's something that people can come on for the entertainment and not just sit and listen to some guy ramble about jokes.
yeah, exactly, right. Like, and that's very much the vein I want to go with a couple of these episodes, and they won't be uploaded like in the same week, right? They'll be spread out. They're like, so like I'm uploading the channel part one probably soon, all right? Because we're going to be speaking
Yeah.
about relevant things, right? I'm not going to like upload that in like 4 months' time when the movies come out. Everyone stop talking about it, right? It just won't make any sense. But like some of these videos, like and one episodes that I'm doing, like I'm doing one with a British YouTuber called Tharis, who no one's ever heard of before. Like he's got like a sizable like channel, right? About 16,000, right?
Hmm.
And is very well known in the UK for his
Well, the
like
name
Doctor
rings a
Who
bell,
and
but like I can't say I 100% know who he is, but the name
yeah,
does ring a bell. It sounds familiar.
yeah, he's like very well known for his like geeky like BBC Doctor Who videos, right?
Yeah.
And again, sort of trending. I love Doctor Who. I'm a massive geek for it, right?
No, I completely
So
understand. I'm a big
yeah,
fan of Doctor Who as well. But, like, I
yeah,
wouldn't, like, get on my knees and blow the Doctor. But, like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
yeah.
a very, really interesting concept. And I think that they really pioneered the sci fi era in that sense. They really jumped on a good trend that was trending at the time. And it just soared into this amazing thing that's just gone completely bonkers in all of the best ways.
Well, yeah, exactly,
And
right.
being that
And
it's like sci-fi on space, the potential is literally limitless.
yeah, exactly, right. Like I love the show. I love everything about it, right? And this guy's like like a mega fan. He goes to like all the events and stuff. He gets invited by the BBC and stuff. And it's just going to be a great episode for me personally. Like
Yeah,
some episodes that
like
I do.
a complete geek fan talking about someone
Yeah,
who is big to the whole idea,
yeah, exactly, right.
like a
So
giddy
like
little schoolgirl.
yeah, 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 exactly, right. Like some episodes I will do of Trash Talk will be purely for the audience, right? They want to know that they've requested the episode, right? I might not necessarily know a lot about the person, but like the audience will, right? This is an
Hmm.
episode for me, like an episode that I want to do, rather than an episode that I think will be good for the audience. So this is very much like a self-centered episode where it's like I just want to have a geek out hour
Honestly,
and
being
just
that
talk
you're
about this guy.
aiming purely for your audience with everything else, I feel like you've earned this one. And I feel like your
Yeah,
audience would be completely okay with letting you have this one and hearing some insights to do with Doctor Who, ideas, everything like that. Because I've noticed with fans of stuff like Doctor Who, being that the potential is limitless, it can sometimes have that limitless potential influence their fans.
well,
So he could
yeah,
have some
like.
pretty interesting insights, and I feel like your audience would still enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. It like again, like I do want to specify this. Like, it won't be like a regular thing, right? I'm not like getting on these like geek people to like turn
Yeah.
like trash talking from a non-commentary podcast to like whatever, right? It's still heavily a commentary podcast, but I just want to like do a couple more relaxed episodes now and again, and that's what I would do, especially because the next guest that I'm actually doing with, and this will be the last one I'll speak about. And I don't want to like talk about the other three, just purely because I'm like you know they're not coming out for a while. But the next one I'm doing is with Natty Forsyth, who I believe you've done an episode with, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, me and LTB interviewed them because we talked about the allegations. We talked about how there were people quite literally harassing them and saying that they were going to basically find and do very horrible things to their younger sister
Yeah.
who is underage, which at the time I thought was completely an embarrassment of the entire system because if you're stalking and hating this person for pedophile allegations, why would you then tell them that you're going to do pedophilic acts with a little girl? I mean, it's
Yeah.
very two-sided, like same with the fucking coin, like hypocritical and really childish.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Is Natty's like a very interesting person to speak to, right? And it's an
Especially
episode that
mentally as well. Like they're going through a
yeah,
fair bit, and mentally, psychology in a way, they're quite very interesting for that.
well, yeah, 100%. Especially now, right? They're going through a lot of stuff at the moment and stuff. Like in similar vein, right? A lot of hate, a lot of death threats and stuff.
Yeah,
And I've always wanted to do the episode because I find Natty a really interesting individual in both senses of the word, as a lot of stuff they've been involved in and the controversies are unlike a lot of people that I speak to, right? Like, there's not many people that can say, like, I was accused of this, was accused of this, I did that, whatever, right? And it's going to be an interesting episode, right? Because like although like a lot of people, like including yourself, have spoken to Natty about like a lot of the like stuff. I do really like want to dig deep and just like have like a full blowout with the episode because like it's rare that you get that chance to actually ask someone that's been accused of the stuff and like has been through the situation of how it felt, like what actually happened, getting their perspective.
Yeah.
So no, it's gonna be like a really interesting episode, and it's an episode that I know a lot of people have wanted to see as well. Like those requested episodes, right? There's outrageous people that every single time I post say Leafy or whatever, right? Like these unrealistic episodes, right? But like Natty, Jalen, and other people are always people that come up in the replies. So people want to see the episode. I want to do it. So I'm really looking forward to doing it. To be fair.
I can completely understand that. And I got one last question for the
Hmm.
podcast. So,
Yeah.
this is a question I ask everyone now. It's kind of with the theme of Madman's Land and the serial killer of the internet. So, if you could have one channel, any one channel to be completely deleted, terminated, no longer existing, can never return, who would you pick?
Oh, right. Okay. Now this, like, you've never heard of this channel. I know some people that do support my content and do watch a lot of my content will. And I'll give you a little backstory because it's like we'll stretch the episode out as well.
Yeah, no,
Um,
like, go on.
yeah, yeah. So right, his name's Dylan Locke, right? And it was part of the community that I sort of brought up earlier, like this small commentary community. And like, I hate this guy so much with a passion, right? So let me set the scene, right? This guy, like, he's got like maybe 200 subscribers at the time. Like, I know him from like in real life stuff, right? We used to go to school together, whatever. We like start uploading videos together. We make this community, whatever, right?
164K, yeah?
Yeah, right. So, he's got like this. He had this large audience. He doesn't anymore, right? He fell off the edge of a cliff because of like, the stuff I did. But what happened, right, is 2020 hits, right? Lockdown, COVID, right? All of that lovely good stuff, right?
Hmm.
Um, and not saying COVID was lovely, but you know what I mean, like lockdown and stuff. Just like it was a
Yeah,
weird time, right?
lockdown alone. Like, some stuff, it could be bad for people, it could be good for others, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I
you
just
mean
want
it
to like, yeah,
sarcastically, like, oh, a lovely time, is in, like, yeah,
yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that people don't think that I'm like saying,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
no,
all the
like,
people
I get it,
died,
I get
lovely
it. Like,
time,
because
you know?
some people will, like, take the smallest thing and run with it. So, yeah,
Yeah,
go on. Like, continue,
yeah.
continue.
So like the community really thrived, right? This like some people like from the community even like interact now, right? So like the person I keep bringing up, cynical. Then there's been like a couple others, like the not Serb guy that I brought up as well, and like a bunch of other content creators, right?
Hmm.
Making content, quite a bit of drama, whatever, right? And there were a lot of like supporters, or what I thought, and everyone believed were supporters. And like I was cancelled a couple of times, nothing really significant. And these accounts would sort of like flock around this guy, Dylan,
Hmm.
and it got to a point, right, where like someone would say something outlandish, right? And I'll speak about this, right? But in 2020, I was cancelled for saying a racial slur, right? Something that like I wouldn't necessarily say like now, right? You're not gonna
Wait,
catch me going into the
was
VC.
that like the meme that people do where it's
Yeah,
like, the meme that we saw on the server of you saying the N-word and it being put
yeah,
into
yeah,
like
yeah.
a meme rap meme?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
7 years a slave, that one, right?
Yep.
Um, and like it's never something that like I go into the VCs and go, let's say it, right? Because like I'm not like that, right? I'm never gonna go up to someone and say it.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not that type of person, you know.
No, I get it.
But
I
it was
get it. Like,
mistaken though, right?
I'll say this. Like, as a black person, even though I can go like, "Hey, I'm black," I can say "nigger." Yeah, I still
Yeah.
think that it is like I think it's pathetic that the excuse can go, "Hey, he's black. He can say the N word even harder."
Yeah.
No, just because I'm black doesn't mean it's not racist. That's not how it works. You can't
Well,
just
yeah.
go like, "Oh, you're like." In my opinion, I think it's probably more racist if you give them a pass because of their skin color. I think that's probably more
Yeah.
racist. But
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Like
continue.
I was in like this really awkward place with it, right? Because I'd said it, I'd apologized, right? Like I
Yeah.
knew it was wrong, right? I wasn't like this like naive child, right? Like I knew it was wrong, but I just read it out, right? It was a spur of the moment thing. Read it out, whatever. Made a mistake. And like I got cancelled, flocked around, right, for like a couple of months or whatever. And this community guy, Dylan, right, he's sort of at the head of it. A couple of months go by, everything's been forgotten about, and I get cancelled just out of the blue, right, by all of these people, and I get accused. I believe I don't think I've spoken about this, especially to small commentary, but I got accused of some really serious allegations that
Hmm.
had no proof, right? It was very like going back to like the Lieutenant B stuff, right? a bunch of people, right, mainly this not Serb guy, came out and said that I'd said some pretty vulgar stuff, right, about his younger brother, right? Which, look, there was no evidence, there was no proof, whatever, right? The only thing that that kept getting brought up was I said that he had a nice haircut, which last time I checked, complimenting someone's haircut isn't me like grooming or saying anything. Bearing in mind, like I just
Well,
it was a really
I
big
really
situation,
think
right?
this is silly because I compliment people all the time, like, oh,
Yeah,
you're attractive. Oh, you're good looking. Oh, wow, you have a nice haircut. Oh, I love your dog. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I feel like there's a very, very, very far distance between a compliment and grooming. I think there's
Well,
a
yeah.
very big difference.
Yeah, like the argument was being made that I was trying to hit on the kid, whatever, right? Like he wasn't even there, right? I was just saying to his brother, like I was saying, oh, like he's got like a really nice haircut, whatever, right? So the passing comment. It wasn't like, oh yeah, this kid, whatever, right? Wasn't saying any vulgar, right? But it got brought up. I was cancelled for it, right? The hashtag is still there. Hashtag Samuel is over party, and a lot of the tweets have been deleted, right?
That's pretty
But like skip a
childish.
year, yeah, it's just like it's just the pathetic sort of Twitter stuff, right?
Hmm.
And skip a year, and all this stuff comes like back up, sort of stuff, right? And me, cynical, like whatever, Fabio's sort of chilling in the background, right? But me and cynical fall out with this guy Dylan, and what we discover is that all of these accounts were owned by him. So all of this like 20 plus accounts were all owned by him, and
What a
basically the whole
surprise.
community stuff. Yeah, but basically the whole community stuff, sham, right? All him, all whatever, right? He just had a god complex. So if I had to, like, I know this was a long-winded explanation, right? But it's like
No,
something
it's
that I
chill.
genuinely hate, right? Fucking hate this cunt, right? Like, I hate him so bad, right? So if I had to like get rid of anyone, like terminated fully, right? Like he doesn't upload, right? Like I'm drop my like 1 hour video on him, right? And the whole like all of his lies, all of his manipulation, right? Blaming me for suicide and stuff, all of that stuff, right? It'd be him. So he has no chance of ever coming back. Like he's like the one guy, right? Like
If
there's
I'm
never like
gonna be
anybody.
honest, from what I've seen, he's pretty dead already. He hasn't uploaded in a year.
Yeah, yeah, like this guy, right? Nothing, right? Like he's probably never coming back right after the video dropped.
Yeah, but like
Uh,
just as insult to injury for the
yeah,
disgusting act he did, fuck him
yeah,
off the internet.
yeah, exactly,
Honestly,
right?
I could respect that.
Yeah, so there's no chance of him coming back. And like when like the word terminated or like getting rid of a channel comes up, like I never really go, oh, like I fucking hate this guy. He needs to be terminated, right? There's no
Yeah.
one like that. Like of course there's a bunch of pedophiles, whatever, right? Like absolute wrong uns. But
Hmm.
then again, like it's just like is what it is, right? You punish them how they're meant to be punished with the law rather than like a termination. But
Yeah.
this guy is someone who genuinely shouldn't deserve to come back. Like I feel like if he did have a platform still, he'd be doing way more harm than good. So he's a guy
Yeah,
that
no,
just sort
without
of
a shadow of a
doesn't
doubt.
deserve
Like,
anything.
from what you've told me, this seems like the kind of guy who would manipulate fan bases, manipulate communities, and try and turn everyone against each other just for the small grind that he could get 1K more subs than he had before. This
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
seems
like
like a complete manipulator and a complete asshole of a person.
yeah, like you wouldn't want this guy around. Like, and you like to be fair, you
I
wouldn't want
trust you, to
anyone
be
on this
fair. I've
community around.
seen some of your videos, and your credibility is higher than mine. Like, from what I've seen, you don't make a video unless you've got the fucking evidence. So, I can respect that, and I trust your word on this.
Yeah, like the community, right? Like even if you didn't, right? There's so much evidence. Like that's the thing, right? Is with this, I'm very free with how I like word stuff with this situation now because there's just so
Yeah.
much evidence to back up everything I'm saying with it. Like there was so much evidence that I made an hour's worth video, right? Like I don't usually make an hour's worth video, right? Made a
Oh
video
no, I
on like
completely understand. I'm the
yeah,
exact same. If I can avoid making a video that's like up to an hour, I'll avoid making it. But if it has to be an hour just to get everything off the table and like, show people, then, lesser of two evils.
yeah, exactly, right? Like I'm like sometimes I make big videos, right? That was one of my big videos. Like I made a big video on like Mr. Andy Tate, right?
Hmm.
Like and even that was like maybe 30, 40 minutes, nowhere near. Like so there's so much evidence that was used and so much stuff that like you can make callbacks to make sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I can understand
Right.
that. But
Just a fuck situation basically.
yeah, no, like this sounds like quite a fucking situation, sorry. Fucking hell, my mind just jumped there. Anyway, but like I can say that this does sound like a fucked situation, and I will still like this is coming from a psychopath, someone that's naturally meant to be manipulative. I completely don't understand what the whole point is with god complexes. I think this is a complete fucking embarrassment. Like, fuck me, man. Get off your fat ass. Stop being like acting like you're a god because you're not one. Just like everyone else, you'll die. Quit your shit. Be a
Well,
man.
yeah, having
Quit
a
with the shit.
yeah, exactly, right. Like having a god complex really confuses me, right? Like, because I never think I'm like. There's some people, right, that I will go, look, I'm better than him, like pedophiles, right?
Yeah.
I'm better than the average
Well,
pedophile, right?
obviously. Like,
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not
yeah.
going around to like other people and going, I'm better than you, right? Because there are some situations where like ultimately better, right? Like sometimes intelligence, like IQ tests, whatever, right? I'm not talking about that, right? Because sometimes people are just genuinely better at something, right? Some people are better than editing than me, art than me, whatever, right? Whatever it may be. But I hate this God complex thing, right? And there's a couple of people in small commentary. I won't name them, right? But there are some people that I genuinely think they believe that they're better than everyone, right? So the
Mhm.
issue that I had with Zero is the issue that I have with a lot of people, where because they've got a number
Yeah.
next to their name, or they
I
make certain
hate,
content.
like, Zero is a perfect example. He thinks because
Yeah,
he's, like, really big, that automatically means he's allowed to think he's better than everyone.
well,
It's
yeah,
really childish.
it's the common issue that I have with a lot of shorts creators, right? Is like, look, I'm a shorts content creator on my main channel. I do a bit of both, right? I sort of levy it out, right?
Hmm.
But like, I hate this egotistical god complex that a lot of them have. It's like I keep using this as an example, right? It's like comparing TikTok followers and YouTube subscribers. It doesn't work. Like you're
Yeah.
successful in your own right, but it's not comparable, right? So like,
It's nowhere near comparable.
yeah,
TikTok videos get shown off more, and they're what's the word? Basically, how everything works and how videos are shown is a lot more effective than YouTube, whereas YouTube is very random in certain senses.
yeah, right. Like Zero's again a great example, right? He's like a successful shorts creator, right? He's just way successful in his own right. Like whatever, like whatever you may view, right, be on it, like if he deserves it or not, right? He's successful as a shorts content creator, but it doesn't translate to long form, right? You're not going to say he's a successful long form
Yeah.
content creator. Like it just doesn't work like that. And I feel like there's this issue within small commentary of that a lot of people just do have god complexes, and it is really like frustrating because it's the same people that then like lower the quality of how the community runs and stuff. And like it's why like a lot of my tweets when I do speak about small commentary are in like a very pessimistic way now because it's just people like that.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. And like it is like those kind of people genuinely aggravate me.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like if I look at a pedophile or a lolicon, I personally think I'm better than them because, like, to me, lolicons, shotacons, all of that, it's pedophilia to me. So if I look at a pedophile, I'm gonna be like, yeah, of course I'm better than that guy because I don't want to fuck kids. But
Mhm.
when it comes to just the average person doing this thing, I don't think I'm better than him. I think I'm a human, just like everyone else.
Yeah,
And just like
100%.
every human, I'm valued just like every human.
Yeah,
Same as
yeah,
everything. A number next to my name doesn't make me important.
yeah. Like there's no like statistic like with it, right? Like I said, right? Some people are better at some things, right? Some people are better than sports. Like I'm not like a football player, right? I don't like football. Some people are better than football at me, right? It don't matter. Like some people are just naturally better at things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you're a better human than people. And I just hate the whole idea around a god complex.
At the end of the day, flesh is flesh. You all rot, you all die, you're all red on the inside. So just like quit this shit. Like, in my own opinion, don't use it as something to have a god complex or to feel important. Use it like this. I'm happy knowing if I die, that community that I've had and grown and raised, that sort of thing, will remember me after I die. Apart from that, it doesn't make me any more important than anyone else.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Like, some people have different degrees of success, right? Like, you, for example, right? You're probably more successful than some other people out there, right? But it doesn't make you better. It just
Yeah,
means that you're more successful in your own field, right? Like, I don't like The Rock, right? He's a very successful actor and wrestler, right? And I'm not. Doesn't mean anything, right? It means that he's really good at what he does. He's good in his career, and he's going to be remembered for that. Doesn't mean that he's a better human. Just means he's better at what he does. Like, I
exactly.
think that's what we knowledge.
I think that's a perfect way to use as an example. Or like Vin
Mhm, yeah,
Diesel, similar idea. I think it's a good
yeah,
way.
100%. Yeah, no,
Well,
yeah, 100%.
well, if you've got no questions for Madman's Land, I think we can wrap it up here.
Yeah, I'm pretty content with how this episode's gone, to be fair.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on to the podcast because honestly, like, you're pretty chill overall. I can see like myself being pretty good friends with you overall, and I would say that from everything that I've interviewed you with questions, you seem pretty neutral and on neutral terms with things. You try to remain neutral on a podcast. I can personally respect that because you're meant to be neutral. And I would just like
Yeah.
to say that with your next Trash Talk episodes, I look forward to seeing some of them. Can't wait to see some new insights. I wouldn't mind seeing that Doctor Who episode 1 as well. And I hope that you do get like good views and good success with that one as well, like with all
Yeah,
of the new
appreciate it.
ones.
Yeah, yeah, appreciate it, man.
Well, this has been Madman's Land with the one and only Saammuel, basically the Trash Talk owner and someone that's probably going to be pretty successful, especially in the future, and me, the serial killer of the internet, No Miss Yalf. We'll see you all in the next one, because in the next one we'll be interviewing Hooper. Have a good one, everyone.